Have you ever wondered how our ancient ancestors survived in a world without metal, plastic, or even a simple hardware store? The answer lies in their incredible ingenuity, and one of their most important skills was the ability to turn ordinary rocks into powerful tools. Today, we're going on a journey back in time to explore the fascinating art of stone toolmaking, also known as flakes. This wasn't just about banging rocks together. It was a sophisticated craft that shaped human history for millions of years. So, how did they do it? Imagine you're one of our early human ancestors. You need a sharp edge to cut meat, scrape a hide, or carve wood. You look around and see rocks everywhere. But not just any rock will do. You need something specific, a material that breaks in a predictable way. Flint and obsidian were prime choices because they fracture conchoidally, meaning they break with a curved shell-like surface, creating incredibly sharp edges. An obsidian flake, for instance, can be sharper than a modern surgical scalpel. Once you've found your perfect raw material, the real work begins. The primary piece of stone you're going to shape is called the core. Your goal is to remove pieces from this core, called flakes, to create your desired tool. Base, simplest and oldest method is known as the stone-on-stone technique, or direct percussion. It sounds straightforward, but it requires immense skill. You hold the core firmly in one hand. In your other hand, you hold another stone, which serves as your hammerstone. This hammerstone needs to be tough, maybe a dense river cobble. Now, this is where the physics comes in. You don't just bash the core randomly, need to identify a good striking platform, a flat or slightly angled surface near the edge of the core. You have to hit it with the right amount of force at the perfect angle. It's too soft, and nothing happens. Too hard, and you might shatter your precious core. The angle is critical. A glancing blow will produce a long, thin, useful flake. A direct 90-degree hit might just crush the edge. With a well-aimed strike, a shockwave travels through the core and a flake detaches from the other side. This flake itself could be the intended tool, a ready-made knife with a razor-sharp edge. Or you might continue to strike the core, shaping it into something more substantial, like a hand axe. Hand axes are one of the most iconic tools of the Stone Age. They were the Swiss Army knives of their time. Versatile tools used for chopping, digging, and butchering. Creating a symmetrical, well-balanced hand axe using only a hammerstone is a testament to the cognitive and physical abilities of early humans. It shows they could hold a mental template of the final product in their minds and execute a long sequence of actions to achieve it. This process wasn't just about brute force. It was about reading the stone, understanding its internal structure, and anticipating how it would break. Every strike was a calculated decision. Early flint knappers were masters of physics and geometry, even if they didn't have the words for it. But what if you need more precision? What if you want to create smaller, more refined tools like arrowheads or delicate scrapers? That's where a more advanced technique comes in: pressure flaking. This method offers much greater control over the final shape of the tool. Instead of striking the core directly, you apply steady pressure. Here's how it generally works. First, you might pre-shape a tool using the direct percussion method we just talked about. You get it into a rough form, which we call a preform. Then, you place this core or preform on a firm but slightly forgiving surface, like a piece of thick leather on your leg or a block of wood. This helps support the stone and absorbs some of the shock. Next, you need a special tool for applying the pressure. This tool, called a pressure flaker, is often made from a piece of bone, an antler tine, or even a piece of very hard wood. The tip of this tool is tough and pointed. You place the tip of the pressure flaker precisely on the edge of the stone, and then you apply a significant amount of force, pushing inwards and downwards simultaneously. It's a combination of your arm strength and your body weight. Suddenly, with a distinct puff, a small, thin, and very regular flake detaches from the underside of the tool. It's an incredibly satisfying sound. By repeating this process, you can meticulously shape the tool. You can create sharp, serrated edges, thin the body of the tool to make it more aerodynamic, and carve out notches for hafting it onto a spear or arrow shaft. Pressure flaking is what allowed for the creation of some of the most beautiful and deadly stone points in history. Think of the finely crafted Clovis points of North America or the delicate Solutrean laurel-leaf blades from Europe. These weren't just functional. They were works of art, showcasing a level of mastery that is awe-inspiring. This technique required immense patience, a steady hand, and an intimate knowledge of the material. A single misplaced push could snap your nearly finished arrowhead in half after hours of work. So, we have these two fundamental techniques: direct percussion, the stone-on-stone method for rough shaping and creating large flakes, and pressure flaking for the fine-tuning and finishing work. Often, a toolmaker would use both. They start with a hammerstone to get the basic shape and then switch to a pressure flaker to perfect the edges and details. It's amazing to think that these simple principles, striking and pushing, were the foundation of technology for over 99% of human history. These stone tools weren't just objects. They were the key to survival. They allowed our ancestors to access new food sources, like bone marrow and tough animal hides. They enabled them to build better shelters and defend themselves. The development of these tool-making techniques directly correlates with the expansion of the human brain and the spread of our species across the globe, too. Learning to make stone tools wasn't something you picked up in an afternoon. It was a skill passed down through generations. Archaeologists believe that young individuals would have learned by watching their elders, practicing on discarded pieces, and slowly honing their craft over many years. It was a core part of their culture and education. Today, there are still people who practice this ancient craft, known as experimental archaeologists or modern flakes. They help us understand the challenges and intricacies our ancestors faced. By trying to replicate these tools, we gain a profound respect for the intelligence, skill, and resilience of early humans. It connects us directly to our deepest past, reminding us that with the right knowledge, even the simplest materials can be transformed into something extraordinary. The next time you see a simple stone, remember that for our ancestors, it held the potential for fire, food, and the future of humanity. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the Stone Age. If you found this fascinating, hit that like button and subscribe for more journeys into our incredible human story. See you next time.